The rise for video conferences and content streaming is at an all-time high, so making sure that you have the right gear for the right job is absolutely crucial. But arguably more important is making sure that you can get the best bang for buck in terms of quality and price. So that begs the question, should you buy a webcam or a camera? Today I'm presenting what I believe to be that answer, the Elgato Facecam Pro 4K. In this video, I'll be showing you everything that comes with the Facecam Pro 4K. I'll go over all the technical specs and features, provide a $900 camera setup comparison, and even show you how to get the best image possible with the Elgato Camera Hub software and share my thoughts. Let's get started. The Elgato Facecam Pro 4K is the world's first 4K 60fps webcam made with professional streamers in mind and is currently going for $299.99. But surprisingly, even though the original Facecam is on Amazon, the Facecam Pro is not, so you'll have to order directly from Elgato website. The package exhibits the consistent Elgato marketing you'd find on all their other products. You'll receive a quick start guide, a user manual, a USB-C to USB-C cable, the mount to hold the Facecam, and last but not least, the Facecam Pro. The feel and the look of the Facecam Pro is super impressive to say the least. The housing and the front face are both constructed of plastic while the back is made of aluminum that serves as a heatsink to dissipate heat. Engraved on top, you'll find the Elgato logo and the name printed on the side. Behind, you'll see the USB-C port as well as a reset switch underneath since the Facecam Pro has the ability to save settings internally. And to support the mounting, it's equipped with a rubber grommet around the 1/4" mounting thread. Now back to the front. It has a convenient small LED so that you'll know if it's picking up an image, and additionally, text with specs on the opposite side. The Facecam Pro mount is also an upgrade from the previous Facecam, capable of better adjustments and even supports top-down angles. However, because of the weight, it will fall, so make sure you do have it connected and have the support of the cable holding it. The Facecam mount is extremely robust, and it's made of 4 pieces, 3 of which being plastic. You'll find an additional logo on the back and some more rubber grip on the opposite side, as well as in the top of the lip. Plus, the 1/4" mounting screw is also surrounded with more textured rubber for better contact. The screw is also something that mimics the style of a normal camera stand or something that it would look and act like. The USB-C cable is 6 feet long and holds its shape pretty well, but that might not be a good thing since it's pretty annoying trying to get a straight shape out of it. I don't recommend it bending in an opposite way since that might introduce a break. However, you can play with it until you get it smooth to your liking. Now, like I said in the beginning, this shoots 4K image at 60 frames per second. This webcam is capable due to its Sony Starvis sensor, which you can see is the largest webcam sensor currently out in the market. And having a larger sensor also means light can be allowed in, resulting in better low light performance and an overall better quality image. In the world of photo and video, glass is everything. For instance, it's a known fact that the lens of a camera has more of an effect than the camera body itself. A camera body will give you more features or functions, but ultimately, the lens will improve the quality of the image the most. That's my reasoning to believe why Elgato upgraded to the full frame equivalent 21mm f2.0 autofocus lens. But I can talk about the specs all day. It's time for you to see for yourself. One of these images is a Facecam Pro, and the other is a Canon M50 with a Sigma 16mm 1.8 lens. Can you guess which one is which? I'll give you a bit of time. If you guessed it right, well done, but I'm curious, what exactly do you see that made you notice a difference? Or if you got it wrong, don't worry because I myself am super impressed by how close in comparison it looks. So here is Elgato Camera Hub Software. Preview is currently disabled, so let's go ahead and enable this. And this is what we're gonna get. Now, as you can see, I do have the grid lights on, which I highly recommend to have it on because this is what's gonna help you get some good composition. I'm out of composition right now. I'm still in the middle right here, but that's okay. We'll get to that a little bit later. If you don't like that, if you're like, whatever, I don't care, you can turn that off. Great, but here we go. We have this on. I'm gonna have it for this demonstration, and then right here we got disable the preview. There it is. Enable the preview. Takes a little bit, but it's on. Now, before I run even into these settings, it's very important to know the lighting. Every situation is going to be different. You may use the Elgato key lights like I do. You may be using some different lights, but I really want to give you some type of foundation so you know how these settings are related to the level of light output. So if I come right here on over to my Elgato software, the control center, we can see I got 2 lights. I got a left light and a right key light. This is with everything off. This is with all my lights off. This is the image that you get. Well, now let's turn everything back on. Here we go. We got some light. My My left light is set to 31%. It kind of moved a bit, but it's still there. And then my right light is set to 26%. If you go a little bit brighter, I can go brighter on the right side. I actually might. The more light, the better. I'm not blown out or anything. I think I actually like it like that. So I'm gonna leave it at 53 on the right light. I'm gonna keep it on 31. So we have the camera and effects on both of these sides. You can make this smaller if you want. There's some recordings. You can bring it out as well. Right here, I want to go over the effects because this is what I use for this. My Elgato Facecam Pro is upside down. It's kind of hanging on one of the arms that I have, and the flip orientation is key. I absolutely love this. That's what makes this super easy. And mirroring as well, you can kind of just go however you want. So I'm going to leave this right here. Now we do have AI backgrounds, but if you don't already have like an NVIDIA card, I don't believe it's going to work. You will have to download the software for this. I had to download it as well, but it's going to prompt you, hey, you have to download this, and then just go ahead and click and download. You get blur. It really doesn't look that good in my opinion. I don't like it. I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to keep it as is right here. We do get some good little cropping green screen, like I'm in some type of tonal vortex. I do have a black background. And then here I am. I'm at the office just chilling. You know, I'm on that conference call. Got clients calling. Here we go. What's up? Let's make some money. Or I'm just in my second office. Cool things that you can do with this. I like it. So back on over to the actual controls. We got our inputs. I have a Camlink 4K and of course the Elgato Facecam. Camlink's the Canon camera. And then of course the Facecam Pro. Now you can put the Camlink 4K. It's going to just bog down just a little bit, but this is only going to give me very few settings because I am running OBS to record this. That's why the preview is occupied, but I got the brightness, contrast, and saturation. Those are the only things I can do if you do have a camera set up. You still get control, but that's good to know. Now it's going on over back to the Elgato Facecam Pro. Again, it just takes a little while for the software to actually work. That's real time. That's how long it takes for the software to get, but once the software is connected, it's great. The first option you have right here is the framing. I absolutely love this because with the 21mm lens that is currently equipped on this face cam, you see like my entire room, or you can even see that it's hitting the monitor. So like it doesn't really bother me, but to you, if you want to have some better cropping, that's where we do this at. You get the zoom, field of view all the way like that, and then you also get the pan tilt. Now the pan tilt will go left and right. I'm just holding the button, it's moving, and then if I want to go down, you kind of get the gist. You have full control right there. And this little box, if you hold it and kind of just move around, we can go in circles. But that's kind of cool. You can get your framing right here, and this is where you can save your presets. You got A, this is just wide open for me. You got B, I've already saved this preset. You got C, and then you got D. So depending on how you want to run this, it's like, hey, like here's my entire room, and then someone comes and chats and like donates $100. You're like, oh my goodness, thank you so much, I love you. And then someone gives you $1,000. You're just like, oh my god, I really love you. That hasn't happened yet, but hopefully one day. But anyway, B is kind of my just go-to. You can see how I've cropped it right here. This is the image, and I'm center right in between the lines. You're not seeing the monitor anymore. It's cropped out. But that's the good thing about having 4K and streaming like the 1080p, because you're not losing quality. It's so good. So if you want to save anything like this, all you got to do is hold, and then you see the little save button right there, and it saves. But I don't want to save it like that, so I'm going to hold it back, and then it's saved. Let's go to my B preset, because I've noticed that if you're on A preset, it really doesn't autofocus the best for some reason. So if I'm zoomed in quite a bit, I'll be able to focus. Autofocus is like super fast. It's just like rock solid. Then straight back to me. Well, I guess not. This is a perfect example of why we test things out. Why aren't you focusing? Well, that's good to know. I moved it. Here we go. So I'll leave that in the video so you can see, but it should have focused. Let's see if we can get it back. It's having a hard time focusing. Moved, and now it's focused. So for whatever reason it wanted to do that, it focused right back onto my face. So that gives you a perfect example. I mean, I've used this consistently, maybe because I have it on, but hey, who knows? Got to figure that out. When I go back, here's the autofocus. It's focusing on me, so that's good. This is where the focus tab is. We got automatic focus. I'm a little bit confused on this, to be honest, because metering is something that you have for exposure. And as you can see, we got metering right here. So we got a center weighted and a spot. So I would imagine center weighted is going to be all this in the middle, in the center, and then spot should be just like dead in the center. So maybe if I turn this on, oh, so the spot is going to be reactive to my camera super fast. So maybe that's the reason why we had a slow autofocus. Let's go back to the center weighted. Now it just wants to work. Maybe we had to reset it. Who knows? We have the metering set to spot. We have some presets, but because we are automatic, none of this works. So if I turn this off, I don't recommend doing this. You can if you want. So to turn this on, we got a near, mid, and a far. You can see it moves, but I'm not going to move myself. I'm going to be out of focus this entire time. We have 6 inches for the near preset. We have 28 for the mid, and then we have 50 for the far. I assume that maybe if I want to do like 7, and if I save it, will it save? Yeah, it does. You can save presets for your manual focus, but I'm gonna go ahead and just put that back on. So maybe if you're just sitting here, you can just keep it on manual focus. It won't move or anything. That's kind of good. If you're moving around, I mean, I would just keep the autofocus on. I haven't had any issues. We saw with the spot metering, it works pretty fast. Next thing is picture. I have both of this set to 50%. That's how I'm getting this image right here. Contrast is gonna darken up, give you a little bit more contrast, and then you can lighten it up. 50% works great. If I want it to be a little bit darker, a little bit rich, I guess you can say, I can put it to 60, and that makes the image pretty nice. I might just leave it at the 59 or 60. And then saturation, if you want to look orange or you want to just look black and white, that's where you get that. You can get a little bit color correction. At 54, my skin starts to look a little bit more on the red side or yellow. I noticed right off the bat that this camera definitely looks green. You let me know if you can see it. If you want to be a little bit richer on your skin, you can go more saturation. Yeah, 56 doesn't look bad at all. Looks pretty nice, but I can just tell this is a tan shirt, but in the actual image, it looks like green for whatever reason. Not green, but looks a little bit green tint to it. So the exposure settings on here are probably going to be the most important for getting the best image possible. Now, I currently have these settings set up, basically make my Canon M50 look as best as possible because of the lens and the sensor settings and whatnot. But if I wasn't going to be using this and only using the Elgato Facecam Pro, this is what I would do. Then this is kind of what you should do. A few things to understand first is how all of this works. Now, you have your automatic, which we're not going to do. You got the metering. We're not going to go over that yet. We're just going to set our exposure manually first, and then we can go back and I'll talk about those. Because this webcam is shooting at 4K 60 FPS, you always want to double the shutter speed to your frame rate, meaning you're shooting 60 FPS. So that means you're going to have a shutter speed of 120. I wasn't too far off. I was right there, but so we're going to keep this at 120, and it didn't change too much. Here's the kicker. I want the cleanest image possible. So how am I going to do that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to lower my ISO as low as possible as I can. Why am I going to do that? Because what ISO is basically gain output from your sensor. So the more ISO you put, the more grain is going to come out. You don't want that. Now, I'm overexposed on purpose, but I'm just showing you around here, there's tons of grain, especially in this corner and over here. Like, it's horrible. So I'm going to lower this as much as I can. But you're like, oh, Josh, like, what the heck? It's so dark. I know. So at this point, you need to add more light. So go back on over to my Elgato control center, and I'm going to raise this brightness up. This is on the left side, and then this is on the right side. Now I have both of these set to 100%, and it's still dark. That's okay. I still want to leave my ISO set to 157, or let's just put let's put 150. You can also type on here. So 150. Oh, I guess I can't. So 150, but it's still dark. So what I can do is I can lower my shutter speed. I can put on 60, and then this is like super clean. It's still dark, so I am going to have to raise my ISO, but it's nothing compared to what I previously had. So like 207. Here's a clean image. I don't see any grain. The blacks are hella black, so I'm actually going to go back and lower the contrast and my saturation. So now it lowered that, and we got a pretty good image. Now I'm looking at my cheekbone right here. You can see it is not blown out at all. And I'm looking at my forehead too, nothing blown out. I got a big, massive forehead, so it's good. I kind of just use that to gauge if I'm blown out or not. If I put my hand here, it is a little bit overexposed, so let's lower the lights because it is bright. Here, we got a good signal right there, but I'm gonna keep this one bright right here. I'm pretty satisfied with this, and this is a clean. I don't see any grain on this at all, and this is like how you will need to set it up to make sure that you have the clean image. Try to keep your ISO as low as possible. Just flat out keep it as low as possible. If you have to raise it, then raise it, but you want to raise your lights first before anything, or you want to lower your shutter speed before anything. It's just kind of how that works. So let's see how the automatic exposure works. Let's see if it's going to give me the same or different settings. Based off of my previous testings, it kind of doesn't work for whatever reason. So let's remember, right now my shutter speed's 1/60 and then my ISO is 200. So if I have my automatic, it's keeping my 1/60, and then my metering is center weighted, meaning it's getting the center of the image to get the exposure. And it might actually be this light. I have this light on, so it's like, oh, it's overexposed, because I'm looking at this and I can see the cover is actually really good. So that's kind of funny. It's probably seeing that as an exposure. I don't care if this is blown out, but here's the average. Let's actually turn this off. Let's see how that works. Okay, so I didn't want to turn it off. I definitely didn't want the light to be just shining straight onto the webcam, but now you know, we both learned something. The automatic exposure actually works. If you have a bunch of like RGB in the background, if you have like a light like me, or if you have some light shining like a hair light or anything, that will be picked up for the automatic exposure, and it might not even give you a proper exposure reading like it was just doing for me right now. So the average metering means it's taking the average lighting reading from the entire image. I feel like this is actually giving me a really good exposure. I'm super surprised. And then we have center weighted. This is maybe if I don't care about the edges or the top or bottom. I just care about what's in the middle. Is the middle exposed, meaning me, and nothing really changes. It's pretty constant. And then spot, yeah, this changed the spot. Spot should just be straight up in the middle. Or if I put this, let's see. Is it raising? Yeah. You put something closer, it's going to be changing the exposure, the reflections of the phone, and changing like that. Let's see how it works with the center weighted. Center weighted, not so much, but here we are. And I would leave it on the average if you do want to do an automatic exposure, or just follow the same process I showed you. Have your lights as bright as you can with the ISO as low as you can. And remember, double the frame rate as well. I noticed that it is super forgiving though. Like if you're doing this on a normal camera, it would be a huge difference. You can tell night and day between 1/120 or 1/60. But on here, it's not too bad. I'm raising the compensation just a bit, way too much. You can already tell that I'm overexposed. So we can keep that at 0. We can make it darker if we want, -1, but here is that. That is basically how to expose your image and get the very best quality possible. Again, no grain. That's the whole goal. We don't want to have any grain. So now that we're off that subject, white balance, I do have my lights set to, I'll show you again. We have the lights set to a 4700 Kelvin, and currently my temperature is set to 4600 Kelvin. What I recommend on this is whatever color temperature light you have, if it's 32, set your color temperature to 3200 Kelvin. In this case, I'm just one off, but the reason why I do that is because I want my image to be just slightly cooler than what my lights are. Just because I have a very dark skin, I'm just compensating for that. It wouldn't change too much if I put it at 47. My skin might look a little bit more orange, but this is nice. And it's also very important when you are doing this to change the colors based off of your skin tone. You don't want to go based off of any lights that you have in the background. There are going to be some instances where, like, if you don't have like nice lights, not that these are nice or anything, but like you can change the colors of those based on the color temperature. See how that kind of changes? And you're like, oh, whatever. The deciding factor that you need to really is your skin tone. Your skin tone needs to look as natural as possible. And I believe that this gives me a really nice skin tone. Other things on here is like you can take a picture like this. And then you took a picture. It's going to save it. It's going to have it right here. Here's my image. Photos. Just once. And then here's the photo. And this image actually looks like really good. It's crazy. I like that. There's me. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much. Love you guys. So I'm looking at the image of the Facecam Pro and I absolutely love it. It is a great webcam for its price, in my opinion, $300. I personally like it because I didn't have to buy another $900 camera setup like that. I just can't do that. I'm not gonna do that. So having this level of quality, functionality, having the software, it integrates with my entire setup. It's a win-win for me. Now, is it a win-win for you? I'm not too sure, but if you are looking for a second camera, don't want to cough up the money, or you want a really high quality webcam, which is the first 4K webcam that's out in the market, the first 4K 60 webcam out in the market, this is definitely a no-brainer. I mean, it looks absolutely gorgeous. It fits into my style really nice, and it doesn't look like every other webcam. It has a nice, slick look, and it's from a brand that everyone trusts. So I think that it is a great image. I think that is definitely something that you can work with. Now, the autofocus, like we saw earlier, I don't know what was going on with that, guys. I really can't speak, like, no idea. It's been working for me this entire time, and in the moments of recording this video, actually showing you the test, I mean, that's huge. That might be a deal breaker for you. You probably saw that and you were just like, oh no, why am I gonna buy this if the autofocus sucks? I was able to see, set your exposure right, and you're able to get that better autofocus. So, I mean, we were able to do that. So maybe, hey, fix your exposure, you'll have some good autofocus. But I'm definitely impressed with this webcam, or just the quality. I mean, I really can't say anything else on that. So if you like this video, drop a comment. Put a lot of time into this, guys. I put a lot of time into all the other videos, and I mean, I didn't get to say thank you so much because we hit 5,000 subscribers. Been super busy. We got more content coming out, so if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. If you got any questions on the Facecam Pro, please drop the comments down below, or hit me up on Instagram or TikTok. I'm on those every day, constantly talking. So if you want to chat with me, hit me up there. All right, peace.